Hey guys, what's up? It's Bibs7 here again, and welcome to another RuneScape 3 vlog here today. In this one, I'm going to be talking about the most recent drop rates that were released, and I'm also going to be sort of, but probably not really, doing the achievements for RD because I'm just working on them for like no real reason. I'm just kind of going slowly for random things for comp while I'm not doing Telos, and I would be doing Telos right now, but my parents are coming over to my apartment, so I will have to stop, and I don't want to waste my aura. So, anyways, they released 3 new bosses drop rates today, and it was a little more interesting than I was expecting, especially the God Wars Dungeon 2 drop rates. I wasn't really expecting what it ended up being, to be honest. So. Yeah, I'll just talk about that right now. Let's see. First of all, though, we'll start at the top on their list. Legio bosses. It's been known for a while that the drop rate of signets is 1 in 50, although it was 1 in 64 on release. They did change it, and it's been 1 in 50 for a while now, I do believe. So, yeah, it's 1 in 50 chance to get a signet from any of the bosses when you're killing them. Nothing too really interesting there. That's just the drop rate. They also actually, which I wasn't expecting, they released the chance of Ascension Grips, which is 1 out of 2,056, which is honestly higher than I thought. I thought it would be like 1 out of 1K or something like that, but it is 1 out of 2,056 to get Ascension Grips. And on top of that, you can only get them if you are on a Slayer task. So that's pretty significant. That's a pretty low drop rate, and yeah, I thought that one was definitely a bit interesting. So if you didn't know that, then now you do. And the chance of getting an Ascension Keystone is 1 out of 64 from any of the creatures like the Rorari or something like that. But the Scutarius has a 1 out of 50 chance, and I'm pretty sure those are the ones that you have to have 2 people to kill because they can only be damaged from the back or whatever. So it makes sense that those would be a little bit more common from them, even though I don't think anybody kills them anyway. But yeah, that is that for the Legio bosses. Nothing too much to talk about. And the second thing was God Wars Dungeon 2, and it was way more complicated than I thought it was. They kind of had to go into a pretty decent amount of detail in their breakdown of this, but basically the base chance, there's actually 2 different roles which I wasn't aware of. There's one role for the unique drop, and then there is one role for an essence. So the essence is not included in the drop table with the other unique drops. When it says unique drops, it means any piece of the anima core armor and then any of the other drops like the crests or the weapons. So surprisingly, at least to me, the Anima Core armor is the same drop rate as the weapons. So it is the same chance to get an Anima Core body as it is to get, say, a Dragon Rider lance. So that's pretty crazy if you ask me. I feel like it definitely is more common to get Anima Core in pretty much everyone's experience, but I guess that's a little bit of placebo and a little bit of the fact that there are 3 drops at Vindicta that are Anima Core and only 2 that are decent, and at all the other bosses there is more decent drops because they have 2 weapons rather than just the lance and the crest like Vindicta does. So yeah, it's a little surprising, but the base drop chance for the unique is 1 out of 512, and it is 1 out of 128 for the boss essence. But it is worth mentioning if you didn't know, because this isn't how they've been formatting it in the other ones, but it's worth mentioning that the 1 out of 512 is for each individual drop. So if you're, say, at Vindicta where there are 5 drops, the helm, body, and legs, and then the lance and the crest, is actually 5 out of 512 for any unique at any time. So it is about 1 in 100, a little bit worse than 1 in 100 without any bonuses. So that's not too bad. although a majority of the time, that is like 60% of the time, that's just going to be a anima core piece and pretty much not really be, you know, anything to get excited about. But then you have to factor in the rep, and once you know the base chance, you can pretty much calculate the change that the rep does to it on your own, because it's just a percentage, and it is it's a flat percentage change. It's nothing like crazy. So if you have the 100% rep bonus, then it is 1 out of 256 for the uniques, and then 1 out of 64 for the essence. So that goes up to 5 out of 256. So it's actually pretty decent chance to get any drop, especially once you have this rep increase. And it's just nice to know when you are reaching these reputation thresholds, you know, like how much it really is improving your drop rate. I mean, you know, it's like 25%, but that's kind of arbitrary, and it's nice to know the actual numbers behind it. So that's pretty cool. I'm not going to go through every single one, but you know, once you get to the 100%, it is 256. So yeah, good to know. Then they also went through how challenge mode affects it, and I wasn't aware that challenge mode affected the loot, but it's, you know, I kind of assume it would, but I hadn't actually seen a confirmation on that. So they have kind of like a convoluted formula in here that calculates the changes. It's basically, I mean, I don't really know why they did such a weird ass formula for it, to be honest. But yeah, like they randomly have like a 90 minus stuff divided by stuff. I don't know. It's like a really weird formula. It seems like unnecessary math in there for like no reason. But you know, I don't know how exactly their things work over there at Jagex. So I won't try to talk to that too much. But still, seems a little weird to me. Trying to find where the hell the sword chick altar is. Wow, a very nice altar, you know, very fucking informative. I don't know where this one is. It said southwest. I thought it said southeast. Well, my fault on that. But anyways, yeah, I'm not going to go through all of them again. But basically, if you're on 0% bonus from rep, then and you do challenge mode, it goes from 512 down to 460. So it's not really that big of an increase. I mean, it's obviously noticeable, but it's not something that you'd ever, like, you'd pretty much never want to do challenge mode because of this increased drop chance, because it's basically not going to be worth it at all, because you're not going to be getting kills very fast at all. Like when you're doing challenge mode, you get probably less than half the kills you do in an hour. So it is definitely not going to be worth it, because the drop rate barely increases for the challenge mode difference. And then if you are in 100% bonus from the rep, it is 1 out of 179 compared to 1 out of 256. So yeah, really not worth doing any challenge mode if you ask me. Just do the 100 for the insane final boss if you're going for that, and then just camp like whatever it is for the pet. Just camp regular mode for the pet if you haven't gotten it by that point, because otherwise it's really not going to be worth doing as far as I'm concerned, and just based off of this data. So it's good to know, but I feel like it should definitely have a more like significant effect on the loot because of the way challenge mode is. Like, it is quite difficult. I haven't done any of it myself, but I've seen people do it, and I've just know, like, you can tell it's pretty difficult, and I don't know, it doesn't seem to be the greatest effect on the drops at all. So yeah, they also went over the luck of the dwarves change, and like how that affects it. So that was nice, although it is the standard way that luck of the dwarves affects everything as far as I know. It is just a 1% taken off after all of the numbers have been applied to it. So that's pretty cool that it's not beforehand because it's more useful at this point, I believe. So I think that is definitely nice to see that they did that, but it's still not a huge impact, obviously, because it's just 1%. So if you are doing the unique roll, and you have 0% rep increase, it's 1 out of 506, so it just takes off 6 off of the 1 out of 512, so not a huge deal there. And then if you're at 100%, it only takes off the 3, so it's 256 down to 253. But you might as well bring it just to switch, because it does give you an increase, so why not? But definitely, you know, don't expect you buying Luck of the Dwarves to make a huge impact on the number of loots you're seeing there. So yeah, but it is good to see that they factored this in. I'm not going to go over all these numbers. There's a lot of them, and I'm not really talking about the essence roll, because I mean, that's not really, I feel like people are more interested in the just uniques. So, and I'm not really going to talk about challenge mode anymore. They list the challenge mode numbers with Luck of the Dwarves, but challenge mode is just not worth it at all, if you ask me. So yeah, and then they go ahead and explain that the chance for a rare is 1 divided by the unique roll. So it's basically saying that since something like Vindicta drops 5 drops, it is 5 out of 256, etc. So that is just a clarification they made there for people because they didn't quite understand it. So if you are doing God Wars Dungeon 2 with maxed out rep for the boss, doing challenge mode, and wearing Luck of the Dwarves or a Ring of Fortune, which means you have pretty much all the bonuses going at once, your drop chance is 1 out of 177 at a particular unique, or 5 or 6, depending on the boss, out of 177 for any unique. So yeah, that's not too bad. And then 1 out of 43 for the essence, but that's not too bad. But that is in challenge mode, so don't really consider that as the thing you're going to be expecting, because most people shouldn't be doing challenge mode. But it's just nice to see they really went into detail with this one and broke down the numbers really specifically. So I'm glad they did that. It's definitely nice to see how everything shakes out, and you can check the forum post if you want to go into detail on like your specific situation with what your rep is, and you know, all that good stuff. So you guys can do that if you like. But I thought that one was pretty interesting, and I was surprised to see that the essences and the uniques are separate drop rolls. I thought that was definitely something weird. But after that, they talked about Nex, and Nex is very, you know, sort of boring, you know, no offense, but it's just like standard numbers for the drop rates. So the Ancient Emblem, which is used to make the tier 80 defender, is a 1 out of 50 drop rate. So, you know, if you are going for that, then you know what that drop rate is. I did get one myself, so I don't ever really need to get another one, but it's nice to know what the drop rate is on that if you are going for it. And then pretty much every set has a 1 out of 128 drop rate. So pretty much what I assume is you have a 1 out of 128 chance to hit the Torva table, and then if you hit the Torva table, it is a 1 in 3 for the helm, body, or legs. So that's basically the way it works as far as I understand it. So it's equal chance to get any of the items once you hit the set, but if you but it's 1 out of 128 to hit each set. So 1 out of 128 for Torva set, Pernix set, Virtus set, which is just the helm, body, and legs, and then it is 1 out of 128 to hit the weapons set, so a Zarite bow, Virtus wand, or Virtus book. Those are all on the same one, so those are 1 in 3 after hitting that table. And then 1 out of 128 for all the boots. So if you hit the boots table, it's 1 in 3 for Torva, Pernix, or Virtus boots, and then the same for gloves. So you basically have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 128 chance to get a drop from Nex. And everyone has assumed for a long time that it is 1 out of 30. So if you take it and you divide, it's 3 out of 64, and then it's 1.5 out of 32. So yeah, it's about 1 in 30 for a drop at Nex. So that's good to know that people were pretty much right about that the whole time. And they also added a little fun little thing at the bottom talking about the Brews and Restores drop. So it's actually only 7 out of 128 chance to get a drop of 30 Restores and 10 Brews. But then it's a 29 out of 128 to get 30 Brews and 10 Restores. So that's why you see the Brew and Restore, the more Brews drop way more often than the more Restores drop, because the more Restores drop is almost as rare as the next item itself when you look at the numbers. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, it's basically a 36 out of 128 chance of you being cripplingly disappointed when you get your kill at next. So that's good to know, just like it's good to know the Calfight King Shark drop rate, because those are terrible. You know, you never like to see those either. So glad they released these numbers. Next week is probably going to be the last interesting week. I keep saying that, but you know, there may be something a little bit more exciting that I just don't think of during the thing. But either way, next week is Raids, God Wars Dungeon 1, Calfight Queen, and Chaos Elemental. I'm really interested in the Chaos Elemental drop rates to see how rare it really is to get a piece of the Ancient Warriors equipment from there. I really wish they had made the Chaos title only obtainable at Chaos Elemental. That would have been way more challenging and more, you know, prestigious for people who actually wanted to grind it out. But yeah, it's probably insane drop rates. And I'm also interested to see the exact rates at Raids, because I want to know if I've actually been getting completely shafted because I only have 2 pieces of Acto with like a lot of full raids done. But we'll have to see on that. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about these rates in the comments. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. I am working on my collection series, but I kind of just want to make the first episode me getting the Telos Dormant title. So it's kind of going to be a while until that comes out probably, because I am just camping it pretty hard and not really doing anything else. But yeah, anyways, see you guys next time.